All right, so for this example here, we have this graph on the right, and we're going to look for where the function is increasing, decreasing, constant, and then we'll do the domain and the range. So let's start with just tracing out the function. So when I start tracing out the function here, on this interval here, I'm going to be increasing, because if I'm tracing here, I'm going up, 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 up. So that interval will definitely go under increasing. And remember, we want to describe it using the x values. So here, the x value of this interval is -4, because that's where we start. And then at this point up here, the x value is -2. So this will be increasing from -4 to -2. Now at this endpoint, we will have an open parentheses because it's changing. At the other endpoint here, we can put a closed bracket, because if you look down here, this is an end and it's a closed circle. So this one over here will be a closed bracket. Okay, now if you put an open bracket there, I wouldn't necessarily take off for it, but if you see it as an answer, that's what you'll see. And that's only at the ends that it might be closed, if it's a closed circle at the ends. Okay, so let's keep going. So now if I keep tracing my function during this point, we're going down, 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 down. So during that whole time, we're decreasing. So we'll put that under decreasing. So this interval here, the x value at this point is -2, and the x value here where it stops is 3. So that will be from -2 to 3. So it'll be decreasing from -2 to 3. Both of these points where it changes are not ends, so they will definitely be open parentheses. So then let's see what happens next. So as we trace out this part of the function, we're going to be increasing again, just for that little portion right there. So we'll be increasing again for that little portion. Again, the x value at this first part here is 4, and then the x value here, that was 3, and the x value here was 4. So that will be from 3 to 4 that it will be increasing. And again, these are going to be parentheses because they're not the ends, so they definitely have to be parentheses. Okay, so now we're going to continue tracing out the function. And during this part right here, we're constant. So we're constant during this little part right here. So this is going to be on the constant. And again, the x value at this point right here is 4, and then the x value here is 5. We can see that here, 4 and 5. So that interval will be from 4 to 5. These will still be parentheses because we're not on the ends. It's changing. And then for this last part here now, we are finally increasing again. So we are increasing again from this part. So from the x value of 5 all the way up here, this one has an x value of 6. Right there, 6. So that'll be from 5 to 6 that we're increasing. 5 is in the middle, but the 6 will go ahead and have a closed bracket because it's on the end and it's a closed circle. Okay, so those are the intervals where it's increasing, where it's decreasing, and where it's constant. Now, if we want to look at the domain and range here, we'll look at the domain and range. Kind of erase all this for now. If we look at the domain and range, we're looking at domain is going to be the x values. Remember, this is the x values. So we want to look at the furthest value to the left. So if I try to trace my function out left and right, this point right here is the furthest to the left that goes. And the x value there is -4. So the domain will start at -4. This will be included because there's a closed circle there. And then if we trace out our function, we want to look at what's the furthest value to the right. And the furthest value to the right is when we get here. And that's at the x value 6. So that will be the ending domain value. So all the values, this function goes all the way through all the x values from -4 all the way to 6. And 6 is included because it's also a closed circle there. So then for the range, we want to look at from up down to up, what's the lowest y value and the highest y value. So if I go down to the very, very bottom of my function, this is the lowest my function goes, so that's 8. So that will be the beginning of, or I'm sorry, -8. That'll be the beginning of my range. It's included because the function actually touches -8. There's no open circle there. And then if I look at the highest value of my function, it's all the way up here at 5.5. And I know that because of this point right here, and it's about in the middle. Okay, so the highest value of my function is 5.5. That's also going to be included because it's a closed circle. So that will be the range. If this was an open circle here on the end, that's when you would put a parentheses. If that was an open circle instead, then you would put a parentheses at the end for the 5.5. All right, that's your example.